for the first time. So what is today's editorial about? It is all about the rift between India and Canada. Last week also I did one editorial. Some words are very familiar. But what is the enrichment you are going to get today? Grammar to some extent. Then effective vocabulary, comprehension skill, idioms and phrases today I haven't come across. If you write about the editorial, you will improve your writing skill. A reading skill, obviously, exam topics, and tips and tricks. We'll go to what is the tone of this editorial? The tone of the editorial is critical and concerned. Criticizing, critical comes from criticizing, and concerned, showing the concern because of the rift between the two countries, a lot of students, tourists, they got affected, they got stuck. It highlights a deteriorating, underline the word deteriorating, means a going down, getting spoiled. Deteriorating, and write the combination as well, deteriorating standards, one combination, and also deteriorating health. It goes with quality, standards, health, all these combinations. Deteriorating relationship or ties between India and Canada, as well as, underline as well as. You all know the grammar rule, why it is important. The consequences of this strained diplomatic situation on ordinary people, particularly students, tourists, and business persons. Students will get tensed up like anything, a situation like this. How does it start? Frosty ties. Frosty, part of speech adjective. You can have a look at the screen and write. See, you can see the words and meanings part of speech. I'll be saying, you can write. Frosty, part of speech adjective. Cold and unfriendly in manner. Actually, frost goes with the winter season. That frost is different. Here, what does it mean? Unfriendly manner. Frosty ties or relationships. On the worsening India-Canada ties. Worsen is the verb form. Worsen, what is the past form? Worsened. It's a regular verb. Worsening India-Canada ties. And what is the main idea of this editorial? Ordinary people will suffer. Will suffer, which tense is that? Future tense. As India and Canada cut down visa services. Cut down, an important phrasal verb. What does it mean? Reduce the size, amount, or quantity of something. Usually it goes with expenditure. And also bad habits like smoking, cut down the number of cigarettes, or drinking, all these. India and Canada are headed for, underline, are headed for, means are going in the direction of, or headed for an even frostier season in ties after the Ministry of External Affairs, MEA's latest move to pare down. Please put a star mark, pare down, that is also a phrasal verb. To reduce something, especially by a large amount. I have come across this for the first time. That way it is important. Pare down, cut down, in a way one and the same. Subtle difference. What is the difference? By a large amount, then we use pare down. Pare down the number of Canadian diplomats in India from 62 to 21. That is a drastic thing. I also underline the number. The number, that's an important phrase. Tell me why is it important? It takes a singular verb or a plural verb. The number takes a singular verb, a number takes a plural verb. That immediately you have to recollect. While New Delhi had made, surprisingly, this editorial, we see a lot, twice or thrice, past perfect tense, not present perfect. Because they are referring to what happened initially. Based on that, the latest developments. Underline had made, which tense is that? Past perfect. While New Delhi had made its demand to equalize the numbers in each other's, tell me why each other's has been underlined. Please underline each other. Why is it important? Which part of speech is it? It is a pronoun. Which type of pronoun? A reciprocal pronoun. Please write. Reciprocal pronoun. Reciprocal pronouns are two in number. One is each other, the other is one another. And what is the difference? When we talk about two persons or two things, we use each other. More than two, one another. That is important. Equalize the numbers in each other's missions known last month. In the fiery aftermath, there are two words. Fiery, part of speech adjective, having a passionate and quick-tempered nature. In a way, you can think of aggressive, being aggressive. Fiery, having a passionate and quick-tempered. We use expressions like bad-tempered, quick-tempered, short-tempered. Aftermath, part of speech noun. Important. The consequences or after effects of a significant unpleasant event. After an important unpleasant event, you see the consequences. Then what is the word you use? Aftermath, an important word. In the fiery aftermath of the Trudeau government's allegations, we got the word allegation many times, still abroad the part of speech is what? Noun. Say someone has done something wrong without any evidence. And what is the other word you have to think of? Accusation. Allegation, write the word accusation. Allegations that India had a role. Had a role, which tense is that? It is not past perfect, it is past tense. Please write past tense. I have something present, I had something past. India had a role in the killing of the Canadian national and Khalistani activist Hardeep Singh Niger. Matters were thought to have cooled down. Because they wanted to equalize the numbers, they thought the matter has settled down, cooled down, but it did not happen actually. The sentence talks about what? After initial bitterness, they thought they wanted to go in for equal numbers, equalize the numbers. Then everyone thought the tensions came down and everything cooled down, but that is not the case. It had even hoped that quiet diplomacy. Why is the word quiet in a different color? That is important from grammar point of view, exam point of view. Which part of speech is quiet? Adjective. What does it mean? Calm. Quiet. What is the other word? Quite. Q-U-I-T-E. Which part of speech is that? That is an adverb. Quite big. Very big. That you have to recollect. It had even been hoped that quiet diplomacy was at work to repair ties. Everyone thought quietly they were trying to repair their ties and patching up. Contrasting information, however, Canada continues to hold without proffering. Put a star mark, proffering. And see, look at the screen. I have brought the meanings. I hope you are writing. Proper part of speech verb. Hold out or put forward something to someone for acceptance. Put forward something. Write those words. Put forward something to someone for acceptance. And from the sentence also you should be able to guess without proffering any further proof. Means what? Without providing any further proof. That India must cooperate in its investigations against unnamed Indian officials, while India is standing by measures it has taken in reprisal. If you remember, last time also when I did this editorial, we got the word reprisal. Reprisal means what? Retaliation. Someone does something, you do the same thing, retaliate. And this talks about Canada continues to blame India without providing the proof. At the outset, why India got ilked or irritated, Canada says India is behind the assassination of a Khalistani leader. When it accuses or alleges, it has to provide evidence. So far, it has not provided any evidence. Obviously, India cannot accept that. And today also, Canada has the same stand. It keeps blaming, it does not provide the evidence. That is not acceptable. A lengthy sentence, you got to read twice or thrice. However, Canada continues to hold, without proffering any further proof, that India must cooperate in its investigations against unnamed Indian officials. They haven't named anyone. Then how can India cooperate? Unnamed Indian officials, while India is standing by measures it has taken in reprisal, retaliation. What is that retaliation? Last month, after the tit for tat, that is an idiomatic expression, please write the meaning. Tit for tat means what? The infliction of an injury or insult in return for one that one has suffered. Someone causes pain to you, you cause pain to that person. That is what we say. Tit for tat. I did not expect this expression in the editorial. What is the reason? Tit for tat goes with everyday English. Yes or no? So it has come in the editorial. Have you written the meaning? India has a stand. What is that? Retaliation. And based on that, last month, after the tit for tat expulsions of their respective diplomats from security agencies, the Modi government suspended visas for all Canadians, a drastic step, and demanded the downsizing of Canadian diplomatic strength. There is one important word, downsizing. Part of speech verb, downsize. But you can easily guess, downsize means what? It goes with a company, make a company or organization smaller by eliminating staff positions. Remove the staff. Imagine a company has, please write the meaning. Next time I will bring the meanings also. You don't have to write. You can listen and consolidate. Today I wanted to try this format. Do you think this is better? Or the previous one better? This is better. And when you have the word and the meaning in the handout, then you look at the screen, easy to comprehend and remember. So downsize goes with companies. Whenever there is a recession means what? Low economic activity. Companies resort to downsizing. Imagine a company has about 1,000 employees and the recession is on. Then it cuts down the number to 500. Layoffs, downsizing. In this context, downsizing of what? Canadian diplomatic strength. This week, India issued, underline this week. Usually this week incomplete, we should use present perfect. But we do come across exceptions. But exam point of view, this week, which tense? Present perfect, that you have to remember. This week, India issued an ultimatum. Ultimatum, part of speech, noun. A demand that a person or group do something to avoid something unpleasant. It is like a deadline, giving a deadline. You tell someone, do this before Monday. Otherwise, you have to face the consequences. That is the ultimatum, giving the deadline. I'm sure you all know the word ultimatum. Fine. India issued an ultimatum for the removal of 2/3 of those numbers with a deadline of October 31st, after which India would unilaterally withdraw diplomatic immunity. So India gave a deadline to Canada. They wanted the number of diplomats to be reduced. Otherwise, India said it would do on its own. Underline the word unilaterally. What is the opposite of unilateral? Bilateral. As a result, because of that ultimatum, Canada's foreign ministry flew out 41 of its diplomats and their families, calling India's demand a violation of international law, including the Vienna Convention. Canada responded. How did it respond? It flew out how many of the diplomats and their families? 41. From 62, I suppose. And at the same time, again, it protested, saying that it does not go with international law, including the Vienna Convention. What is the response for that allegation or accusation or blame from Canada? How did India respond? The Ministry of External Affairs has retorted. Which tense is that? Present perfect. And there is a word here, retort, part of speech verb, write the meaning. To answer back, reply angrily or sharply. To answer back or reply angrily or sharply. The MEA has retorted that the Convention's Article 11.1 does authorize, underline does authorize, India to require that the size of a mission be kept within limits. There is a clause which seems, what is the clause? That they can keep, India has a right to keep the number within the limit. So India is not wrong in that, from that angle. Canada has also conveyed, again which tense is that? Present perfect. That with staffing shortages now, consulate in-person visa services would no longer be provided. Would no longer be provided, is it active voice or passive voice? Please write passive voice. They won't be able to provide because the number has come down, obviously. Shortage of staff. The Canadian Immigration Minister has added, which tense? Present perfect, that India's moves would not deter Canada's prosecution in the Niger case. Prosecution, you all know the word. Trying someone in the court of law, find out whether he committed crime or not. And here there is one word, deter, part of speech verb. Discourage someone from doing something by instilling doubt or fear of the consequence. You please write the meaning, that's an important word, deter. Deterrence, noun form. Deterrent, noun. Different word forms are there. Deter is the verb form. Discourage someone from doing something. How do you discourage? By instilling or imposing doubt or fear of the consequence. Usually we use this word when it comes to nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons act as a deterrent. What is the reason? You have nuclear weapons, I have nuclear weapons. We will never use. What is the reason? The moment we use, both the countries are wiped out. Very simple. No one will be that foolish. Countries have nuclear weapons only as a deterrent. That is the objective. The second part talks about the developments indicate that if there had been, which tense is that? Past perfect. Then which conditional you have to think of? Past conditional. And main clause we should expect would plus have plus verb past participle. Here you don't see that. If there had been any diplomatic efforts to diffuse the situation in the past, they have been fruitless. They should have said, they should have written, they would have been fruitless. Better expression. Would have been fruitless. But there is one word here, diffuse, I'm sure you all know. Means what? Make a situation less tense. Diffuse the tensions. Bring down the tensions. Apart from the Modi, Trudeau and National Security Advisor meetings that had discussed past perfect, the Niger case, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar had reportedly met, again past perfect, Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly in the US on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. US General Assembly main meeting on the sidelines of, underline that phrase, means that is not the purpose, but they take some time out and they try to discuss. Then you see on the sidelines of. None of those appears to have turned the trajectory of events. They have also shored up their ties with India with possible visits by the British, US, but shore up we have got for the first time. Please write the meaning of the phrasal verb shore up. To support or keep something from falling by placing something under or against it. But that is a literal meaning. Simply you can write shore up means what? Support. Support someone or something. Here it says they have also shored up their ties. Mean that they wanted to make the ties very strong. With India, with possible visits by the British, US and Australian leaders, that will assure New Delhi. Will assure, again which tense is that? Future tense. With diplomatic options exhausted for now, means I have used all the diplomatic options. Exhausted here means what? Completed. Please write the meaning. Exhausted here means completed. Usually exhausted means what? Tired. But in this context, we have used all the resources, all the ties, all the sources, then exhausted. Exhausted for now. It is hoped a period of reflection means introspection, thinking seriously. A period of reflection will bring fresh counsel on how to break the logjam. Counsel, counselor, a familiar word. Counsel means what? Advice, especially that given formally. From this we get counselor. And counsel also means a lawyer. Advocate, lawyer, we use the word counsel. Second word is important. Put a star mark and write logjam. Noun, a situation that seems irresolvable, cannot be solved. Irresolvable. We can also think of the word deadlock. Deadlock means what? No solution, cannot find a solution. Logjam is an important word. Do write the meaning and the word. So that's all about the editorial. See, generally what happens, when you read when you see the heading, it is about what? Frosty ties between two countries. What are the two countries involved? India and Canada. Then you should think of the broad framework. Why? Why should they write? Something went wrong. What went wrong? A particular Khalistani leader was assassinated. Based on that, Canada blamed India. India did not accept. And based on this allegation, what is the impact of the allegation? What are the consequences? And based on the allegation, how did India respond? And the consequences upon which group or which groups? Students, tourists, and other people, they have been living in Canada. Then any editorial, after touching all these dimensions, providing the information, will talk about what happened in the past, what should happen in future. It will try to provide a solution. But here there is no solution because Canada is still blaming India about the assassination of Khalistani leader. But usually editorial takes a stand and says this is what has to be done to reduce the tensions. Before you read, you should have a framework in your mind. This could be the possible framework. Then you read, definitely you'll be able to comprehend. Have you got it? Don't start reading without guessing the framework. First you read the main idea. Frosty ties, positive or negative? Negative. Why negative? What happened? Why it happened? What are the consequences? What are the allegations, response, impact, and the solution? That's it. Easy to comprehend. Answer these questions. What was the reason behind the cooling of tensions between India and Canada following allegations against India? Please look at all the 4 options and tell me which option is the answer. How many of you say first option? That is the answer, very good. And there's one word, underlined word, equalizing. If you remember, I read out, equalizing the numbers. They thought things cooled down. Remember, we got one sentence. Based on that, a demand for equalizing the number of diplomats in each other's missions. That is like something positive. People thought tensions came down. What action did the Modi government take in reprisal, retaliation for the expulsions of diplomats? Increase the number? No. Suspended visas for all Canadians. Provided diplomatic immunity? No. Strengthen diplomatic ties? No. So what is the answer here? B is the answer. That's a drastic step. Why did Canada's foreign ministry remove 41 of its diplomats and their families from India? First option, you don't have to go beyond first option, due to India's demand for downsizing Canadian diplomatic strength. Based on the demand, they did, but at the same time they said India has violated international law. What justification did India provide for demanding the downsizing of the Canadian diplomatic mission? Is it violation of the Vienna Convention? No. Compliance with international law? Hold the second one. India's support for Canada's claims? No. The need for equal representation in each other's missions? No. So what is it? India said it is part of international law. It also cited 11.1 some clause. So answer is the second option. B is the answer. What did Canada's Five Eyes allies do in response to the India-Canada situation? Mediated the dispute successfully? No. Supported Canada's claims while strengthening ties with India? Clearly mentioned or not mentioned? Answer is B. Now let us go to questions, 4 questions based on exam topics, practice questions. First set, error location. Mr. Biden announced that Israel has allowed to let some 20 trucks of humanitarian aid into Gaza from Egypt. Which part has an error? You can have a look at the screen also, better view you can get. Because in the exam, you have to have a look at the screen, yes or no. So, which part has an error? First you underline the word announced. Here usually we say said, but formal situation announced, reporting verb. It is in present or past? Past. If the reporting verb is in past, tense is changed to a corresponding past tense. What could be the actual statement? Israel has allowed. Present perfect changes to which tense? Past perfect. So where is the error? Second part there is an error. Has is not correct. It should be had allowed. Had allowed. But let me tell you, this sentence I brought from the editorial. Yesterday's editorial, I suppose. I haven't touched the sentence. Same thing has been given in the newspaper. Same sentence has been written in the newspaper. Now, if you go with the newspaper, will you be in trouble or not? You will be in trouble. Already you have learned the rule. Reporting verb is in past, tense is changed to a corresponding past tense. But why does it happen? Languages are dynamic, they keep changing, and sometimes perhaps, I don't say the writer does not know. Perhaps it is current English. Don't go with current English. Is that clear? Let us go to the next one. Read the next sentence in the meantime. Now, have a look at the screen and read. While any aid is welcome, 20 trucks of aid for 2 million people is, as the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies put it, a drop in the ocean, an important expression. What is the answer? How many of you say first part? How many of you say second part? What is wrong with the second part? 20 trucks of aid for 2 million people is nothing wrong with that. There is no error whatsoever. And how many of you say third part? Nothing wrong with the third part also. Actually answer no error. Please make a note. No error. Sentence is perfect. Respect the fifth option. Go to the next one. Hamas risen to prominence using the vacuum left by the failures of Fatah and the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO. Where is the error? How many of you say first part? What is wrong with the first part? Is it risen or rose? Rise, rose, risen. Here we have to use the verb in the past form. So please make a note. It is not, you cannot use a past participle. Rise, rose, risen. Here we have to use a past form. Based on that, there is an error in the very first part. Go to sentence number 4. The case is a study on how criminal cases cannot be decided mainly on their shock value and the sensation around widely television and gory images. This is a bit challenging. You have to read very carefully. Have you spotted the error? Look at the sentence carefully. Which part? Fourth part. What is wrong with the fourth part? There is an error in the fourth part. Fourth part is not correct, but what is wrong? Let me ask you a question. Will you say television or televised? Here the word television is not correct. Televised. Please correct it. Widely televised. Televised. Widely televised and gory images. That is the error. You have a close test, not one slide, 2 slides, but all the 6 words you can see. First you read, 13 days after, read and tell me the first word for the first blank. I guess, do you think it is C? How many of you say C? Very good, I appreciate. Answer is C. Besieged means surrounded. Surrounded and defenseless. Go to the next one. Besieged, defenseless, Gaza, continue with disproportionate. How many of you say F? Disproportionate ferocity. Very good, I appreciate. And go to the third one. Killing some number, including hundreds of children. As Israel is amassing, second word, amassing troops, gathering troops, deploying troops, and tanks on its border with Gaza in preparation for a ground, what is the word? Ground invasion. Here you have to use the word invasion. Ground invasion. Are you guys making a note? After ordering some 1 million people to evacuate, very good, within no time, from the northern half of the land strip. And what is the last one here? Their support for the Jewish nation's right to defend itself. Are these easy or difficult? Easy. A few, you have to spend some time, but overall you should get all. That's all for today. Wish you all a happy Dashra. Enjoy the festival. And we will see you after, I think, reopening on Thursday. Thank you.